1, 2, 3. You've got me going crazy when you're on my mind, but not exactly in a good way. I apologize.
I'm Dr. Sarah Olivo.
And I'm Dr. Liz Seidler, and you're listening to College is Fine, Everything's Fine.
I'm not tuning into some kind of righteous man.
Hi. Okay, for our consistent listeners, did you notice something different with our intro music? That's a little hint about who we have in store for you today.
We're so excited to bring you today's episode. This was a first for us and potentially a last. I don't know. I'm not sure if we'll hit this kind of magic more than once because we interviewed members of a band.
And not just any band. This band has officially gone viral with 3.5 million and counting views on TikTok for their song Leah. We got a chance to listen to their full song list and are really excited about their sound. It's eclectic. They're so talented. Clearly, a lot of you out there agree. We're talking about Seeing Double. This is a band that was formed by current students at SUNY Oneonta, and they're growing a huge fan base. We've been humming their songs ever since we interviewed them.
But of course, their music is only one reason why we love this interview. We got to talk to two of the band members, Allie, a singer in the band, and Mike, who plays the guitar, and we were blown away by how thoughtful and open they were.
You are our first band that we're interviewing together. So why don't you do a brief introduction? Just tell us your name, of the band, of you, how you got together, just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. My name is Mike. This is Allie. I play guitar and you do...
I sing.
You sing, and she does...
some like tambourine, percussion kind of things.
We're part of Seeing Double. There are 5 of us, but the other 3 couldn't make it today because scheduling issues with classes and stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about because that's a strain for sure. We formed about a year and a half ago. We go to school in upstate New York at SUNY Oneonta. We started out just doing little cover shows and stuff like that, but eventually we started writing our own music, and I guess people kind of dug it. So we recorded music, put it out. We went a little bit viral on TikTok. And we have, I think, around 3.5 million streams now on Spotify on all of our music combined, which is just so crazy. Over the course of a year and a half, just how so much changes. We've just been kind of touring regionally and stuff and balancing that with school, and it's stressful, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can totally understand why you guys went viral. I have been listening to Take It or Leave It sort of nonstop. It's so good. Leah is great too. But I joked with Liz earlier. I was like, I want to sing it to you, but I don't want to make your ears bleed.
I'm sure you won't.
But the songs are they're so much fun. And I think in a whole nother interview, we'd love to hear more about the meaning behind some of those. And maybe that'll come up in some of the questions we have.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet and kind of come together? It's not every day that, we're talking a lot, Sarah and I, with college students about how they find friends and kind of maintain relationships and build relationships at school. So I'd be really curious in terms of how you guys found each other.
Yeah, for sure. So we graduated high school. We're all juniors, and we graduated high school in 2020. So that was right when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to when we came to school, our college got shut down within a few weeks because there was a COVID outbreak up here. It was a very big deal. I remember it was
700.
There was
COVID
7
cases.
Yeah,
on the campus.
Wow.
within a couple of weeks, and me and Allie became friends during around that time when we first came to school a couple of years ago. And then we met everyone else through the music program. Allie's the only one that's not a music major.
I'm early childhood education.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a
sharp
hobby.
left turn.
Yep.
Yeah. So we all kind of met through, I guess similar interests. I mean, I don't want to speak on your behalf, right? But it's also an interest, So I think similar interests and hobbies and stuff are how college kids meet nowadays, for sure.
Can I tell you something embarrassing that I said to Liz when we were getting this podcast started?
Yeah.
You talked about like an interest in music. So we were trying to come up with our trailer music and going through that whole process and trying to figure out, okay, who would have a better skill set for that? Who has the time to do that? Divvying up tasks, right? And this is part of what we can talk about today is with these relationships, you're in a band, we're co-hosting a podcast. How do you navigate and delegate? But I said, oh, okay, so, who do you think should do the music? And Liz was like, I don't know a lot about it. And I said, oh my gosh, I love music. And Liz, remember you were just like, you're like, I also love music.
Yeah, I love music. I feel like I'm like anti-music. I love music too. But Sarah, I think it's because you're from Tennessee and you're from Memphis. I just like assumed like you're, I don't know, exposed to music and like have a good ear. And I happen to love the music that you chose for our trailer.
Thank you. We got through that hurdle.
You did. Right. Although I've never heard you sing, I've also never seen I should have asked to see like your Apple Music, like look at a playlist or something that you got going on
you're
there.
right. That should be a friend requirement. Let's exchange Spotify playlists just to make sure that we're compatible.
Yeah. It's funny. There's like a thing on Spotify where you can like follow people and stuff and like see everyone's playlists and like what they're listening to at that moment.
Can't you like
you can like
them? You can make a mashed playlist with people
like based on like similar music that you listen to and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
can you sort of listen in Big Brother style and like hear what people are playing right this very minute?
I think so.
You can see. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can probably listen along.
Oh my gosh!
What people are listening.
Wow, guys, teaching us stuff. I mean, Sarah, you and we're going to connect offline. I can't wait to stalk you and everything you're listening to over the weekend.
Flying cars are next, y'all. It's a whole new world. Okay, back to you guys. I guess now that everyone knows I'm from Tennessee, I can say back to y'all.
I say y'all too. I'm from New York.
Yeah, we're both from upstate New York, and we say y'all a lot. I feel like
I feel like that makes me feel better because I try to explain to my kids because we live in New York too, and I'm like, y'all is just a superior word. It rolls off the tongue. It's gender neutral. All right, so it sounds like you have really similar backgrounds in terms of where you've come from and what your music interests are. Because one of our questions was, as you're forming a band, how important was it to navigate different opinions, different backgrounds?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting you say that because like music is so diverse and there's such like a big variety of it. So even though like we all love music, right? Everyone loves music, right? It's just. I guess so. I guess you're a hater.
Guys, I was at a concert in Albany last weekend. Okay, I really do love music.
Right, well, there you go.
Promise. I'll text you later with the photo.
Yeah. We're all into very different music, I would say. And I think when our town and our school is so small that when we were looking for people to like form the band with, we just kind of got together whoever we could. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, we figured out afterwards that we're all just like very different musically. So I think
it works. Like
it works.
We kind of take all of our inspirations and put it into the songs that we make or the songs that we cover too. Like we had one thing, because we all have such different tastes that when we would choose a song to cover, some of us would be like, well, I don't really want to do that song. I don't feel like it's us. And then the other 2 or 3 people would be like, no, it's totally us. Yeah. So we kind of like all 5 of us picked 3 songs that we liked. And out of that list, we had to do at least one from everybody's list of songs. So we did 5 brand new songs, 1 from each person of what they liked.
Yeah, it's all about like compromising and stuff. And even like now where we're not a cover band anymore. But now we've kind of moved into like writing our own songs, and it's similar to that kind of like process of how we make music now too. It's all a compromise when we're all like into different things, and yeah, we all grew up in in a musical background, doing music in high school, whether that's like in rock bands or and stuff, or like doing like orchestra and band. We've all had that like similar upbringing, but just very different tastes. Yeah.
And it seems like which is amazing. There's like a lot of flexibility in your thinking and like a lot of negotiating and kind of problem solving.
Yeah.
And did you just like hit the jackpot and just naturally all of you kind of had that skill set, or, was there a little bit of a learning curve in the beginning?
Oh, there was a total learning curve. Yeah. And it's funny, like, we're friends first before the band. And I'll also put it out there. Me and Allie have been dating now for like about like a year and like over a year and a half too. So the band and like the negotiations and decisions that we have to make within the band sometimes like put a strain like on our like relationships too within the band, which is never easy. But I think that's kind of first what we had to establish is that we're friends, and we have these previous relationships that we have to keep intact first.
So I'm thinking about how multi-layered this has to be. Your students,
yeah,
your friends,
yes,
your musicians separately.
yes,
your musicians together in a band. You got a little romance happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So many different factors and so many different opinions you have to think about. So we are doing this few episodes on what types of things tend to get in the way of negotiations, of relationships. And obviously the five of you have managed that and gotten through it. We've already seen some real skill there. And at the same time, I can't imagine just being five humans that some things haven't gotten in the way. One of the things that we know can get in the way, and this might have to do more with how to your point, we went viral. Maybe now we need to stop doing covers and create our own music. So that might lead us to have to negotiate in a different way with agent potential or people who are booking the band. Are there times where you felt like, oh my gosh, we don't have the skill to be this big yet?
Yeah.
Not the musical skill. Not the musical skill. Yeah. The like social skill.
Yeah. Sometimes I do feel like insecure about the music itself. Yeah. I think that's natural though. But I would definitely say socially too. It's when that video like went viral, it was so crazy. It was a video literally of you and Allie like brushing your teeth to Leah, and we woke up and it had like 200,000 views.
Wow.
And like just trying to navigate like what do we do now, and like the song was getting like 30,000 streams a day, and I didn't even we just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And you're right, it's so multi-layered. That's a good way to put it, because there's just all of our friendships, relationships that we have with each other, and just trying to balance that on top of school and on top of everything else that we do. It gets like very difficult, and it was very difficult back then, and it's like even more difficult now as we're juniors now and classes get a little bit more difficult and stuff, and everyone's schedules don't line up. It's so difficult, but it's tough. It's tough for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine just balancing even I was looking at like your tour schedule at times. I'm like, how like are you sleeping? Are you taking like virtual classes only? Like, I'm like, I don't understand like logistically, like how you're managing your commitment to like your education while also, this really fast paced budding, musical career. Can you talk a little bit about that in terms of what you've noticed in terms of trying to find the balance there?
I think for me, especially, it's hard because I'm not in the same major as everybody. So they all mostly have classes together, even if they're like different times or different sections or whatever, they all have the same class and they all kind of get together and they do their little music thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm education over here. Like, I don't have the same schedule at all. I don't have any classes with them. So I think it's hard to kind of put myself in the music headspace and think, okay, I have to think about music now. I have to go to band practice. I have to think about the different parts of my day. There's the education day and then there's the music part of the day. So it's kind of having that divide and scheduling out time, which I'm very much new to. So I'm definitely getting used to kind of breaking down my day and making sure that everything gets covered. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it for sure. Yeah. It's just tough because our schedules just never line up. We'd be lucky if we can get like 2 days a week to even practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I made a list last night of all the shows that we've ever played, just because I was a little bit bored, and I was looking at it, and we've slowed down the amount of shows that we're doing now, but. Like last September when we were finally back on campus for the first time, like when everyone was like in person, we were doing like 3 shows a weekend.
Wow.
Like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and like a couple of them we would have to like travel like a couple hours out to. It got very stressful. Yeah. So I'm glad that we've slowed down a little bit. Yeah. You have to kind of set up boundaries a little bit in order to make sure you get everything else done, because our educations are very important to us too at the same time, for sure.
Well, you said the B word. You said boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, how I discovered you, as much as I would love to still be on college campuses listening to live music, that's not how I found you. And guess what? Don't have TikTok, secrets out. But you did an article in Her Campus about balancing your mental health needs, your student needs, and being part of a band. And I would be really curious to hear more about times where you've had to set boundaries. A lot of times I think, at least my work wife and I will say this sometimes, we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had a boundary until I hit it. And then it was like, oh, totally. Shoot, I'm well past my boundary. So can you talk a little bit more about when you've been able to do that successfully and times where you felt like, oh crud, we did not set a boundary and we're sinking?
Yeah, I think a great example, and I think I just mentioned, and I think I mentioned in the article too, about how when we were doing all those shows last semester, it got to a point where I was like behind in a lot of my classes, and I was feeling just like super anxious and like hitting like a pretty, I was hitting a low, and I kind of went to everyone and I'm like, listen, I can't keep doing this with the band. Like the amount of shows that we're doing, it's just becoming a lot. And thankfully, everyone was very supportive of that decision.
I think we all felt the same way too. We just didn't really know how to say it, or we didn't really even know what we were feeling. We kind of all felt the same way, but didn't know how to put it into words. So you saying that, we were all like, oh yeah, I agree. I think we need to cool it down a little bit.
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't know why no one really brought it up. I don't know if it was just like we were like embarrassed or.
Well, I think for me, not having music as my career path, I just thought like, if I felt this way, nobody else would think this way because they love music so much that they want to do this. Like, I'm just feeling this way because it's not really the thing I want to do, So I think when I heard that you felt like that, and I was like, oh, so it's like, I think we're all feeling like this. I think we can all really connect on how we're feeling, just like so burnt out and tired.
Yeah, very burnt out. That's a good way to put it for sure. Yeah. And I think that was like probably the biggest example of how we kind of set a boundary with each other about just the amount of shows we were doing, because that really puts a toll on you. Like, it's only like an hour or 2 hours out of the day where you're playing a show, but that whole day is based around getting ready and traveling and doing the sound checks and loading in. That's literally the whole day, and doing that for the whole weekend when that time, like, I really should have been studying or doing homework or whatever, like that really put a strain like on my mental health for sure, Yeah.
Or even just like having any downtime. We didn't have any, like, there wasn't a weekend where we weren't doing anything. Like, we always had something planned, and it was kind of like when you finish the week, oh, it's the weekend, I'm so excited to just relax and then recuperate and be ready for Monday.
No
And
relaxing.
we didn't have really any of that. It was kind of just go, go, go all the time and keep going.
Yeah.
So it really, we didn't have any time to just chill out.
Right. Well, it makes sense you would get anxious, right? When you have all these vulnerability factors, you're not like practicing self-care, and you're not able to, although you love music and performing, you're not able to like attend to the other things that are values of yours. So Sarah and I are talking a lot with college students about anxiety they experience, and particularly in like the social context. And you guys clearly are ballers and you perform on stage. So there's part of you, at least on the stage, that is able to manage your anxiety, any anxiety you have effectively. But can you tell us a little bit more about just like performance anxiety or social anxiety, or maybe how you experience anxiety on campus, on stage, off stage?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always had like social anxiety. I've always had like social anxiety, and I've been performing in bands and stuff since I was in like middle school, high school, and I've never really had like performance anxiety when it comes to like concerts or anything or shows. Yeah, I always found that interesting. I think it's like I don't know I don't know what the term I'm looking for.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like relieving to play shows. It's like a big like stress reducer for me for sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I am realizing the older I get, I have been an anxious person all of my life, but it's been in like different ways. So like I wrote my college essay about how I think about the conversation in my head before I even speak the words, and then by the time I speak the words, they're already on a new conversation. Then I have to think about that. So like I never really kind of put together that was what anxiety is. And I've definitely noticed a lot in college too, in just different ways, like always tapping my foot, or just like having something, like I'm fiddling with guitar picks right now, just in my hand, just having something to kind of do. I don't know if that's really anxiety, but just like, I think it's finding a definition for me was a big help to just realize, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is how I can fix it. I just need some time to chill out. I need to just rest, whatever, this, that. So yeah.
And it's crazy because like going back to like this time last year when we were doing that many shows, and being able to perform being such like a stress reducer for me and something so like anxiety relieving, and that becoming like a factor into why I was feeling so anxious and depressed, and like why I hit such a low, like that really bummed me out. It was like something that I really loved to do, like brought me so much sadness, it really bummed me out. And it made me kind of like resent something that I loved. And that's upsetting to even like think about, like, damn, I can't believe I felt like that at one point. Yeah, for sure.
How long did that feeling last?
I would say it comes and goes, even like today, like even to today. But I think like back when we like set that kind of boundary of like we can't be doing this like all the time. Like we need to balance our social lives and our like our education along with the band and just everything else. I think setting that boundary back then would have made it a lot worse today,
Not setting that boundary, or
What do you mean? What did I say?
setting that boundary would have made it worse.
Not setting that boundary would have made it worse, even like up until today. Yeah, but I still love to do it. Like being in this band is like it's like the greatest part of my life. It's awesome. And doing it with like my friends and doing it with Allie, just like everyone being a part of it is just so awesome. But it's crazy sometimes because it does lead to a lot of anxiety even today when I'm trying to just balance everything all together. Yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure. Yeah.
I think we see that a lot with people who love a lot of things, that they have values conflicts, right? So I love music. I have a goal of graduating within a certain time frame. I have a relationship I have to keep up with. And so then it becomes like, oh, wait, I have really placed all my eggs in the music basket. And what has happened to these other things that I value? And so I what I sort of see you saying is like, okay, things have gotten shaken up and I'm still I'm trying to see where they fall. But I know that I can't put all my eggs in like the music basket for now. I've got to figure it out. And so sometimes I think that just takes some trial and error, but you're on such a good track already being able to say, wait, we can't get to the place where we're feeling totally overwhelmed anymore, or we don't have downtime. Because to your point, you want to be all these different things. We also just want to do nothing sometimes, just hang out for the sake of hanging out, just sleep for the sake of sleeping, or just, are there times you've talked about, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, we just want to be like regular college kids sometimes. We just want to like hang out with friends and just go to parties and stuff. And like we do, but we try. We try.
I'll leave X to differ.
Yeah, we try to find time to do that. Yeah. I feel like, but it's never.
We go to a lot of music parties. So like, there's a house party tonight for like music. Like, there's like bands that are going to play at this house. So we go to a lot of those, but we don't go like frat parties or like bars. Or
no, I'm not. Well,
That's not your vibe.
Not my vibe. I can't say.
We're also not of age, so
yeah, yeah.
You guys would never do anything illegal. I know that. I can just tell by the look on your face. All right, you've talked a lot about the band and how like that big emotion of sadness kept you from figuring out how do we're feeling overwhelmed and we're feeling sad. We know that big emotions are often what get us in the way. Let me start again. Thanks, Tori, for editing that out.
Tori, thanks, Tori.
We know that big emotions often get in the way of friendships and relationships and things like that. Michael, you mentioned I felt really down. That big emotion of feeling really down. Outside of that, because you guys are also roommates, you have to talk to professors. Even in your relationship, have you had times where my emotion was so big, I was so angry or so jealous or so sad, or I had all the big emotions and I couldn't put it into words? Have you had other times where that's come up for you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I have to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Could you guys fight right now just for show? I'm kidding.
Is there any? Well, we can pivot to couples counseling real quick, guys.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like I don't think the band has ever like caused us to like fight or anything, but it's had like sometimes it's had like a little bit of a strain kind of on our relationship. I'm never like mad at you because of it.
Yeah, but sometimes it feels that way because you're just so angry about whatever this is and you're ranting to me and I'm like, well, why are you mad at me?
Yeah.
And I probably do the same thing to him too.
Wow, this has turned into couples counseling. Yeah, no, but it's funny because being in the band with a significant other.
Well, and here's the other thing. All of us in the band are in relationships, but we are the only two that are dating that is in the band. Everybody else has their significant others, but they're outside of this group. So it's kind of, we have a different relationship in that way where it's all mixed together.
Yeah. You're getting really angry about this. Yeah. We've never really talked about this, I feel like.
No. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
This is going to be opening a conversation.
Yeah, no, it's
we'll be back for episode 2. Where we talk about how we got through this.
Yeah. No, we're always together, you know.
Or at least within like a 5-minute proximity. Like we lived in the same dorm building last year, and like we live like 5 minutes down the road from each other now. So
off campus. Yeah. So
we're always
it's an interesting dynamic for sure. But I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, and like, how can you set? I know I was just going to finish up that boundary conversation just to say, you can also set a boundary to say, like, hey, can we just be a couple that doesn't talk about music for a second? Even within that relationship, you might have to figure out, whoa, or we need to be by ourselves. for a second.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
okay too.
we've definitely said that
Yeah,
before.
we
and-
both really value our alone time, and I think we both understand that too.
Mhm.
So like, I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna go lay in my bed now. Like, bye.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and we've also been dating for like over a year and a half at this point. So we definitely, and we've been friends for even longer.
Over 2 years.
Well over 2 years
Yeah.
at this point. So we kind of get how we kind of really get each other at
And
this
we've
point.
gotten comfortable with each other too.
Yeah,
So.
just comfortable with setting boundaries with each other for sure. Yeah.
Okay, we often see that like emotions can kind of get in the way of us making decisions. And I'd love to hear within the band as well as just in your personal life outside of the band, like what have you noticed in terms of either, let's say, like our anxiety kind of getting in the way, like the what ifs about what could possibly happen, how that might interfere with making next steps, or maybe some self-doubt gets kind of creeps in and then it maybe prevents us from maybe taking risks that would be fruitful. So either about the band or within yourself, what have you noticed about how your emotions sometimes lead to indecisiveness?
I remember one conversation we were having at the end of the semester. I think it was last semester, at the end of the year, last semester. And everyone was like, okay, if we're going to keep doing this after college, like, where would you guys want to move to? Like Nashville, New York City, Boston. And I'm over here thinking, well, my plan was kind of to go get my master's and then start teaching. And then this is kind of like the other way. So it's figuring out like what I want to do and how I want to go about it. Like, do I want to do the band thing and also do online classes to get my master's? But that's a lot. And so it's like, I kind of just have to go with the flow and see where it ends up. And that's, I mean, it took a lot of thinking and pondering to come up with that idea that it's just, there's no way to tell what's going to happen and there's no way to predict the future. So I just really need to go with the flow and figure it out as it goes. And whatever happens, happens. I only have one life. I got to do what I want to do. So yeah.
All right.
All right, awesome, guys. Have fun tonight, not performing, but listening to other music.
I know. It's great to meet you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
I loved this interview. They were so fun to talk to. We ran out of time, but I could have talked to them all day.
Oh my goodness. I totally agree, Sarah. They were so fun. I loved hearing about their music and they touched on so many important things. I was really impressed with the insights they already had at this point. And I know you and I want to take some time to kind of highlight their effectiveness.
Yeah. But I think you and I both really reflected afterwards what dumbasses we were in college compared to the thoughtfulness that they shared. They really have their shit together. I think the biggest evidence we have for that complete dichotomy is why I thought they were called Seeing Double. I just assumed it came from some sort of I'm too drunk to walk scenario. I'm seeing double. I feel a little nauseous. And then I looked up a little bit more about how they came up with the name. And it's this really beautiful story about how they met together and they came out of whatever, I think a cafe or a coffee shop. And there were two rainbows that were there after some rain. And I was like, oh, that's seeing double rainbows. Something also about Ali and Ali, the two lead singers. So seeing double from that perspective. And I was like, oh, it's not about raging intoxication. This actually is a beautiful, there's something really beautiful behind this. So then I felt like an asshole.
Well, hopefully listeners, that doesn't tell you too much about what Sarah and I were like in college, but we were skillful in other moments, but we saw some really like wonderful skills being used that we definitely want to chime in on. So you guys were aware of it. And one of the first things we saw that we have spoken about in an earlier episode was the ability to kind of be flexible in your thinking and dialectical in your thinking, the ability to notice and acknowledge other people's truths and perspectives. And I think this is most evident when they were talking about how they came together as a band, really non-judgmental towards people's music taste and interest. And it allowed them to be flexible in choosing songs and creating music.
Exactly. I also really loved some of their values-based decisions. I think that big emotions obviously happen when you're getting 3.5 million views on TikTok. I know that took them by surprise as you heard them talk about, and yet they still said friends first. a values-based decision that was based on something like it's a bigger goal, that something was core to them outside of the fame, outside of the sort of newness of being so well known suddenly. And I think that values-based decision ultimately helped them get through some real times of stress and burnout, which could have made the band fizzle, but they stayed together and they kept going.
And no surprise, because I think they were really vulnerable in our interview. Mike spoke a lot about like being vulnerable with the band at a time when he was noticing that what they were doing didn't seem sustainable. And Ali responded that allowed her and other bandmates to talk about how they also felt that they were struggling. And being emotionally vulnerable, being honest about the experience, I feel like was a really big strength and allowed them to get to a place where they could sustain their career in terms of the band.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So those are the things that you already heard them talk about, but we just wanted to, like we said, put a label to it and really highlight that. A few things we didn't get a chance to talk to them about is how quirky anxiety can be. I saw this come up when Mike was discussing how he can feel so socially anxious at maybe a party or a one-on-one conversation or meeting someone new, but he gets up on stage and suddenly he's like in the flow. He's in his total comfort zone. And I thought that, well, first of all, was very cool, but also not surprising based on what you and I know about anxiety, that it really has tentacles that sort of weave around and into many different parts of your body and completely skip different parts of who you are. So I thought that was interesting that he does something so many people might find appalling to get up on stage and perform. And he's like, this is my happy place. And then Ali, on the other hand, it seemed like a lot of her anxiety was sort of cognitive. She didn't know how to name it. She said, oh, that conversation I was having in my head, that's anxiety. Yeah. And that rumination, that sort of thinking about how you're doing when you're talking to other people, constantly looking down on yourself and judging yourself as doing well in a moment or poorly in a moment is absolutely anxiety as well. Different types might have a different sort of flare up in your body or feel a little differently, but all under the umbrella of anxiety. I also noticed how they talked about having downtime, really valuing alone time. And I was just thinking about that in juxtaposition to how much they were discussing feeling burnt out and overwhelmed. One of the things we know about the emotion of overwhelm is that the opposite of that is nothingness. And if we don't pay attention to overwhelm and take time to just stop and pause and turn off the noise, turn off every sort of valve you can, and just do nothing for a little bit, it can get in trouble. We can get in trouble. I think when we get overwhelmed, we feel almost like a flurry. We like a flurry of activity happening or flurry of thoughts. And if we stop for a second, the overwhelm has time to settle down. It's like the idea of a snow globe getting shaken up. And if you kind of try to do something while the snow globe is shaken up and the snow's twirling around, you're going to feel chaotic. Let it stop, let it calm down, let it slow down. And then you can think in a more rational way. You can do things in a more rational way. I can tell you the other day, I was so overwhelmed with all sorts of different things, maybe this podcast, and I got really in sort of that flurried state, and I was coming home and I was exhausted and I was not letting myself rest. And I was just thinking about all the different things I had to do. I did not take a pause, and I was swinging home into my driveway and I ran over my son's friend's electric scooter, which, oh God, they're so expensive. So I really would have loved maybe to take a quick pause, a deep breath in, a deep breath out, listen to some music or just listen to silence for a bit. And maybe I wouldn't have needed to shell out $300 for that new electric scooter for his friend. So just something to note that's something we talked about with them, but we didn't necessarily get a chance to highlight. And I thought they did that really skillfully as well. Okay, so that's it for our interview with Seeing Double. I highly recommend, if you haven't heard them already, that you check them out. You're going to hear our typical outro, and I want people who are listening to us in Buffalo and Jacksonville and Chappaqua, all those places. We see you. Please reach out. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. After our outro, we're going to let you hear the full Take It or Leave It song by Seeing Double. Please enjoy.
Thank you to our guests for sharing their stories and advice. This podcast is for college students, and we want input by college students. please reach out by text, email, or voice memo to collegeisfinepodcast@gmail.com or 929-500-2231. Tell us your story, give us tips on what kinds of topics you'd like to hear, or give us feedback about an episode.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at College is Fine Podcast for episode announcements and resources. And last but not least, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast. Every hit of that plus button helps us keep going.
1, 2, 3.
Hey!
A little more enthusiasm. Come on, let's go. 1, 2, 3. You've got me going crazy when you're on my mind. But not exactly in a good way, I apologize. And I know that sometimes it's someone I can't begin to understand. But I'm not tuning into some kind of righteous man. You've got my number, you're calling me sweet. If I woke up with manners or a curiosity, take it or leave it, a pretty little song for you. You've got an answer for every little thing I do. When you cry sharp with my knife, I'm not cutting slack. Take it or leave it, don't be bitter. And all of my buttons are loose in my pocket and falling apart like a bubble rocket and not getting far. When I get a ticket to finally bid it, it took good guilt trip or to God in my car.